Wasabi. Wasabi has been cultivated in Japan for over 1,000 years. It grows in cold, fast-moving mountain streams, takes 2 years to reach maturity, and once harvested, must be grated fresh on shark skin because it starts losing its flavor compounds within 15 minutes of exposure to air. Japanese chefs treated it as something precious and perishable, grated to order, placed between the fish and the rice to slow the decay. Then, the sushi boom hit America in the 1980s. Demand exploded overnight, and real wasabi couldn't keep up. It was expensive, fragile, and nearly impossible to import at scale. So, restaurants switched to European horseradish dyed green with food coloring and mixed with mustard powder. The plants aren't even related. The burn feels roughly similar, which was enough. Today, 99% of wasabi sold in the United States is horseradish. Real wasabi has a clean, sweet heat that fades in seconds. The horseradish version goes straight to your sinuses and stays. Most people have eaten it their entire lives without ever tasting the actual thing. Maple syrup. Native peoples across northeastern North America had been tapping maple trees and boiling the sap for centuries before European settlers arrived. It takes roughly 40 gallons of raw sap, boiled down over days, to produce a single gallon of finished syrup. The trees only run for a few weeks in early spring, and the yield depends entirely on temperature swings between night and day. When American food companies began scaling up in the 20th century, that process was too slow and too expensive. High fructose corn syrup was cheap, stable, and easy to produce at industrial volume. Brands like Mrs. Butterworth's, Aunt Jemima, and Log Cabin built their entire products around it, never using a drop of maple. The word maple doesn't appear in any of their official product names for legal reasons. The bottles shaped like farmhouses and pioneer women do the work instead. Real maple syrup has over 60 flavor compounds: woody, caramel, faintly smoky. Pour the corn syrup version and all you taste is sweet. Just sweet and nothing else. Parmesan. Parmigiano Reggiano has been made in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy since at least the 13th century. Aged for a minimum of 12 months in wheels weighing around 90 pounds each, the flavor develops into something sharp, crystalline, and faintly nutty, the result of specific bacteria found only in that region, specific milk, and conditions that can't be replicated anywhere else. In the United States, none of that is required to put Parmesan on a label. American producers can age it for as little as 10 months and mix in fillers. Cellulose derived from wood pulp is FDA approved as an anti-clumping agent at levels up to 4%. No one is required to list the percentage. A Bloomberg investigation found Walmart's 100% Parmesan tested at 7.8% cellulose. One company was raided and found to be selling a product with no Parmesan in it at all, just filler cheese and wood pulp. Their president pleaded guilty. About 20% of American grated Parmesan is estimated to be mislabeled. You have been eating wood pulp and calling it cheese. Olive oil. Olive oil has been traded across the Mediterranean for at least 6,000 years. Ancient Greeks and Romans understood its grades and quality markers well enough that fraud was already being prosecuted 2,000 years ago. Merchants adulterating oil with cheaper fats and selling it as premium grade. The problem is not new. It just got harder to catch. Extra virgin is the highest grade, extracted from the first cold pressing of the olives. The real thing has a peppery, grassy bite and a specific burn at the back of the throat from oleocanthal, a natural anti-inflammatory compound. Most blended fakes taste flat and neutral. Without laboratory testing, you cannot tell the difference from the bottle alone. In 2023, Spanish and Italian authorities seized 260,000 liters of oil falsely labeled as extra virgin in a single raid. In 2025, Portuguese authorities found 17,000 liters of standard cooking oil in relabeled bottles. The EU recorded olive oil fraud at an all-time high in 2024. 2,000 years of the same crime still running. Truffle oil. Real truffles grow underground in the root systems of oak and hazelnut trees across parts of France, Italy, and Spain. They give no visible signal of where they are and are found almost entirely by trained dogs following a scent. The harvest is is unpredictable, the supply is small, and the flavor, earthy, faintly animal, deeply complex, comes from over 200 volatile compounds interacting at once. A white truffle from Alba can cost $4,000 per pound. In the 1980s, chemists isolated one of those compounds, a molecule called 2,4-dithiapentane, and synthesized it from petroleum. Cheap to produce, shelf-stable, and strong enough that a few drops could fill a bottle with something that smelled vaguely like truffle. Food companies mixed it into soybean oil, put it in an elegant bottle, and called it truffle oil. Almost every bottle sold today is built on that single synthetic molecule. Real truffles are subtle and almost impossible to describe. Truffle oil is sharp, chemical, and loud in a way that professional chefs say bears no resemblance to the actual thing. The bottle looked like a luxury. The contents came from a laboratory. Saffron. The crocus sativus flower blooms for 2 to 3 weeks per year, produces 3 stigmas per flower, and must be harvested entirely by hand within hours of opening. It takes around 70,000 flowers to fill a single pound of dried saffron. Persia was cultivating it over 3,000 years ago, and for most of that history it was among the most expensive substances traded anywhere in the world. That price made it an obvious target. Common adulterants include dyed corn silk, safflower petals, dried marigold, ground turmeric, and in documented cases, plastic threads dyed red, cut to the exact length and thickness of real saffron strands. The plastic passes a visual inspection at point of sale and fails nothing without a laboratory. Iran produces around 90% of the world's supply. Studies consistently find adulteration rates above 50% in global retail markets. Real saffron dissolved in warm water turns the liquid a deep glowing gold within minutes. Most of what's on supermarket shelves turns it flat yellow. The color is the only thing that made it through. Vanilla. Vanilla is native to Mexico, where the Totonac people cultivated it for centuries before the Aztecs incorporated it as tribute. The plant is an orchid whose flowers open for a single day. In the wild, they're pollinated by a specific bee found only in Mexico. Everywhere else in the world, every vanilla flower must be hand-pollinated individually on the day it opens. The pods then cure for months before developing any flavor. Real vanilla contains over 250 flavor compounds. In the 1870s, chemists figured out how to synthesize just one of them, vanillin, from wood pulp, coal tar, or clove oil at a fraction of the cost. Today, roughly 99% of vanilla flavoring in commercial food worldwide is synthetic vanillin. Side by side, the difference is immediately obvious. Real vanilla is deep, floral, and slightly smoky. The synthetic version is sharp and flat, like a single note played where there should be a chord. When a product says natural vanilla flavor, it may legally include castoreum, a secretion from the castor glands of beavers. The FDA classifies it as natural. It has been in food for decades. Most labels won't tell you. The flavor on your tongue won't either. White tuna. Escolar is a deep-sea fish found across tropical and temperate oceans worldwide. Its flesh contains a waxy ester called gempilotoxin that the human digestive system cannot break down. Eating more than a few ounces causes severe gastrointestinal illness that can last for days. Japan banned it from sale in 1977. Italy banned it entirely. The FDA has issued warnings about it since the 1990s. In the United States, it is sold in sushi restaurants as white tuna. Oceania-tested fish sold as white tuna at sushi restaurants across the country using DNA analysis. Every single sample came back as escolar, not most, every one. White tuna is not a legally defined species name under U.S. law, which means the label carries no regulated meaning, no required sourcing, and no accountability anywhere along the supply chain. The fish looks clean on the plate. The flavor is mild and pleasant. Nothing about eating it tells you anything is wrong. You find out later.